Hi.
How's everybody doing?
Whoa. Hey, everybody. Sorry. My first time doing Zoom for government.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I remembered I had to host it as soon as I sat down, and I was,
Thank
it's 6:29 p.m. Okay.
you for handling that
folks
for
hear me?
us. Let me see if our guests are joining.
Yeah, everybody got that.
Okay.
Hey everybody, this is Josh. Josh Best, I'm here.
Hey, Joshua, good to see you.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Sorry, Zoom was telling me my microphone wasn't working for some reason, but I guess it is.
Now it is.
Oh, really good.
I just texted our guests. They were
Oh, let me see if I can admit them.
having trouble getting on.
There you go.
Okay, we'll just give it a minute. Apparently my Zoom video isn't working, but as long as you all can hear me. We just had someone join with a Samsung device, it appears. To introduce yourself.
Hi,
Okay.
it's Clara.
Oh, hi, Clara.
Hi,
Clara.
Happy New Year. Yeah.
Happy New Year. Welcome.
Okay, sorry.
Happy
I'm
New
gonna get
Year.
out the basement. I'm getting out the basement. Sorry. Okay.
Well, we do
Hi,
have,
Erin.
Hi.
Hello, Erin.
Hi. I'm alive.
we do have 7, which is more than enough for quorum. So I suggest we get started. The only people we don't have Sal or Glenn, who hopefully Glenn navigate the Zoom okay for his first time. I don't but well, let's go ahead and get started. And sorry, my video doesn't appear to be working. But we are expecting Suzanne Sikora Ludwig, is that right, Denise?
Yes, she was trying to get in, so.
I'm new at admitting people.
Erin, do you have to watch to admit people?
Yeah, I have to admit
Okay.
people. Yeah. I just admitted someone else who's on a phone line.
Okay.
Hello, would the person who just entered on the phone mind introducing themselves?
This is Councilwoman Sikora Ludwig.
Oh, welcome, Councilwoman.
Councilwoman.
Thank you. Hello.
So yeah,
Hello.
go ahead
Welcome.
and get started. Since we have both quorum and our first guest for tonight's conversation. So refer to the agenda to respect Councilman Sikora Ludwig's time. We were going to jump right in and start with the discussion that she had previously brought to the commission about the Allen Witch Flower Box Beautification Project. So we can jump right in, and then subsequent to that, we'll cover the minutes and some of the other board business. So Again, welcome everyone. Happy New Year for our first meeting of the 2025 calendar year. Thank you for your patience as we transitioned to the new Zoom platform. I think most of us would agree it probably will be better. Most of us probably prefer Zoom, but always a few hiccups transitioning to something new. As most of you should recall, at a recent meeting, we had a Councilman Socorro Ludwig with us to share about the idea that she had been working on, had been brought to her attention by Robert Witch of Ale and Witch on Hamilton Street, and has provided some additional information for our review and feedback. And I think our consensus from the last conversation was that this was definitely the kind of project that we wanted to encourage as a commission. Private property owners and business owners being proactive about contributing to beautification of our streetscape, natural environment. So Councilman did provide some updated materials, including suggested plant list and a diagram. And so hopefully everyone had a chance to take a look at those, or if pulled those up, you can pull those up now. And with that introduction, Councilwoman Socorro Ludwig will cede the floor to you in case if you wanted to share any more updates, and then we can open it up for questions and comments.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, board members, for having me again tonight. I did intend to have Robert with me and the landscape designer, but she is sitting Shiva for her grandfather's funeral, and Robert had to take care of his brother this evening in a long-term care facility, so they were not able to attend. So my hope was that I could get more feedback from you on the detailed plans that we sent over. And the drawings and the plans that she did choose were very specific to the area and also the guidelines that we have to follow through the city with the height requirements, because there's a sightline issue at the intersection there. So hopefully I just wanted to understand what you thought about the plans and what you thought about moving forward. We would just like to have a good relationship with you on this project, because we believe you can foster this throughout the city and get other businesses involved in it and more community groups involved in it. And that's where we were hoping for the relationship to grow.
Thank you. I'm going to try and pull up, just so we're all looking at the same time. I'm going to try and pull up and share the diagram in particular. I think is helpful to have as a visual. But while I try and do that, I will just say that I really appreciate the thoughtfulness, right, intentionality of this plan. And although I'm not a expert botanist or gardener by any means, it really does seem like a lot of attention was paid to especially native plants, right, and attractive plants. So I personally think this is great, and I'm not sure I'd have specific feedback more than the landscape designer could offer in terms of plant selection, but I love it. So
Excellent.
Hey, this is Josh Best. Oh. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Josh.
Oh, okay. I did have a question from the details. The only dimensions I saw were length and width, so the linear footage along the sidewalk. Was there a height included in that, in terms of like how deep is this? Would the soil be? The area that I saw, the main reason I'm asking, just from a tree preservation perspective, there's a decently mature, I think it's a linden tree on the end there, and the only cutout I saw for it was like maybe 2 feet by 2 feet, which is pretty small. And so just was curious if that was the goal was to save the tree, just because in general filling in material around it is not ideal for long-term tree preservation. So was just curious how deep the bed is going to be in terms of how much backfill there's going to be, and then if there's a possibility that that box or sort of like exclusion area could be extended at all, or if that was a consideration on the architect's part.
The box is completely above ground, so there won't be any kind of disruption of the soil beneath. There will be backfilled with approximately 2 foot of soil, and maybe the very top of the ground will be churned, but nothing is going to be dug deep into the ground. None of the structure is going deep into the ground. Everything is meant to lay basically and be built on top of the ground. There was no intention to cause any harm to the existing tree that is there. And these were, this is the first rough draft drawing after I walked with the city. We got all of the regulations and the rules that we needed to follow from them, and that made the determination about the height and the size of the box that we presented now. And I'm sorry if I can't answer more specific questions about the plantings themselves. Like I said, the landscape designer, and she's also a horticulturalist, or botanist, she just was unable to be here tonight. So that's the best answer I can give you.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I guess my main question was, or concern, suggestion in terms of feedback would just be leaving a bigger area unfilled around the tree is ideal in terms of preserving roots. I agree with you. I understand if they're not going to dig, if they were going to dig in and put in like a concrete footing or something, that would definitely cause, usually significant root disturbance. So if they're not going to do that, that's great. If it's just going to go from the ground up, but just in my experience, a larger linear footage around the tree that you can leave untouched and unfilled, the backfill can also, negatively affect trees. Just it's not like you're not like going to kill it immediately, but in general, I would recommend not backfilling directly up against a tree. So the bigger that kind of preserved area around it can be is better.
Okay,
Thanks.
understood. Thank you for that. Did anybody else have any feedback from the plans that we put forth?
I think this could be a great model for other places in the city. And I'd love to see us be able to utilize this when we go forward with our green team and our sustainable Jersey efforts. I think it could be a great example of engaging with the business community.
Thank you, Ms. Zimmer. And that is part of the hope of why, I brought this to your commission, was trying to build on the relationship that you have with everybody and using it as a guideline so that we can create more of these spaces throughout the city and try to beautify our neighborhoods with partnering with businesses and other entities to get the community more involved on that level. So I appreciate that comment.
Yeah, and my other comment was to that end, really, which was as a model, I think what could be helpful for us to learn from you, right? And is then we look to try and replicate this or encourage other businesses to do the same, is to understand the city, right, obviously had some input on this in terms of sightlines you mentioned. One thing that would be helpful to know, besides giving feedback on that kind of thing, is this something that required the city to, did it have to go to like zoning compliance? Did the DPW have to sign off on this? I guess I'm just kind of wondering, for a replication model, what we could understand to advise other business owners, this is the checklist of who to talk to ensure you're doing this properly.
I can certainly put that list together, and to my understanding, this may also be on a case-by-case basis, depending on the piece of property where it's situated. For
Yep.
this, typically if it's in between the sidewalk and the road, it's the right of way that's owned by the city, or it may be owned by a utility. It doesn't necessarily need a zoning approval, but it does need the DPW, and it does need the legal department and the planning department to sign off on it. And we have to create sort of, don't quote me on the term, but almost like an easement agreement with whoever is going to be doing this, to allow them to utilize the property for the space that would lay out the responsibilities of everybody involved. So it goes from, we walk the site, we look at it, they make a determination of whether it's possible to do it there or not. And then it goes to the legal department and the engineering department. We haven't signed any of those, like Robert hasn't signed any of those agreements yet, but they all are in the works. And we're just trying to have everything in place for the spring. But I can
Could I ask-
certainly formulate a list of what that would look like for anybody who is interested in doing it.
Could I ask a question? I don't know if, Councilwoman, you know the answer to this, but is there a interest or preference either from this specific business owner or on behalf of the city that a raised bed is a preferred way to do this? Just from a logistics, and usually that's what, I mean, in general, the reason the lawn is kept there is that it could be dug up and, new pipes or gas lines could be replaced and repaired. So in this situation, with it being a raised bed, was that just a desire of the business owner? Is that something the city would like to do in other places? Because that seems like a substantial change or shift, I guess, in terms of a typical, sidewalk curb cut that you're dealing with in terms of the, walkability and I guess moving on and off sidewalks. Maybe you don't.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware of that, or if this was just a one single situation preference.
No, I do know. I mean, this didn't come, this initiative came from the business owner who contacted me, and then we went through the city process. So it wasn't the city reaching out to anybody. When the business reached out to me, after they finished the construction that was going on Hamilton and Lewis Street at the intersections, they redid the sidewalk and they changed the sidewalk pattern, leaving a bigger area of grass in between the sidewalk and the road. Now, he had a big concern because everybody just started walking their dogs there, leaving all their garbage there, and it was becoming a big eyesore that he was cleaning all the time. And he said, well, hey, maybe if we beautify this space, do a raised bed where people can't walk on it all the time, they can't walk their dogs, excuse me, that would make it a nice area. People may respect the area more, and it would alleviate that issue that they have with people crossing in that area, walking on there, and walking their dogs and leaving garbage. So that was why it's raised and not on the ground. Also, in that area, if it was planted on the ground, there's no way it would survive. I mean, just from the foot traffic alone. I hope that answers some of your questions.
That's helpful. Thank you. I guess with everyone, the general conversation has been about it being done elsewhere too. So I'm just curious if there's a general preference on behalf of the cities. Maybe when you discussed it with them, was that something that they like or prefer over a standard level grade from sidewalk to curb, or what was sort of is there an extrapolation of this beyond this situation, or is this just a one-off thing?
Actually, there is not at this point. This is just a one-on situation that we're considering, and I'm sure that it would go on a case-by-case basis. If we wanted to present this to other people, it would depend on the area, how much they wanted to invest in it, what that area looks like, and for a pattern of foot traffic. But right now, there is no other extrapolation from what we're dealing with right now.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Suzanne, could I ask a question about whether you know if there is a trash receptacle on the street in that area, either that belongs to the business or a city one? Because it occurs to me that if part of this will help prevent debris and trash from being, and things that will go into the waste stream from being thrown in that area, it might be great to have some place for people to kind of naturally throw their garbage.
I would have to go down and survey the area off the top of my head. I don't recall. I don't believe the city has trash receptacles in areas like that, but I will go down and look. I don't know how they do that off the top of my head. I don't know how they work Hamilton Street. So I apologize for that, but I can certainly go down and take a look.
Okay, thank you.
This is Josh again. Sorry, I don't want to hog everyone's time, but or is there anybody up? Did anyone else have questions? I just had one. additional.
I did have a few questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
Is
for it.
this is on Lewis Street, correct? Lewis and Hamilton?
Yes.
Okay. There is trash cans there. There's one at the business across the street. Oh, sorry, that's me. And I know there is one on the other side of the street. There's kind of like a love-hate relationship with city trash cans. And if Suzanne, you want to talk about city trash cans, you can call me at my office tomorrow.
Okay.
The other thing is who's my question is like, I love that it's all native plants, but like my thing's like from a perspective of like, who's going to be taking care of it? And the second thing is that this looks like a lot of plants for a very small space. And I like that. I like the variety. I like the plant choice of native plants. I just want to make sure you're not going to overcrowd the area. I don't even know, like, it just seems like a lot for a small space. I recently took like a gardening class and had to design a garden, and a lot of us had to take out about half the plants because it was too much for what was there.
First, I can answer your first. Wait, now I have to go back to your first question.
First question is maintenance.
Oh, business owner. Business owner is going to maintain, take care of the box itself and the plants that are in it for watering, planting, replacing, anything that may come up.
Okay.
Second, the other question about that, the girl who designed this is a highly educated, licensed botanist and landscape designer. I wish she was here to answer your questions. She also teaches, and a big part of her organization, which makes her a little unique and very compassionate, is that she employs handicapped individuals and teaches them about all this stuff, and then utilizes these people in her programs and during the plantings. And so it's just also another very nice piece to fit it into, the compassion that the city has for everybody as well.
Gotcha. I would love to be connected with her because I feel like we're cut from the same cloth. A long time ago.
Excellent. And I feel, it just came up last minute today. She got in touch with me around 3:00 and said that, she apologized. She just couldn't be there tonight. So I'm certainly going to make the introduction of her and Robert at the same time. Maybe we can come back again to the next meeting all together. And in the meantime, I'm going to be meeting with, people from the city as well with them to start moving this forward a little bit too.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's actually a question I had. Do we have a time frame when you're looking, or when Robert is looking to start and, I guess, cut the ribbon on this project?
Well, we certainly wouldn't have a ribbon cutting timeline yet. And I think once the weather breaks and we get all the documents needed that we have to have signed, I know Danny was drawing up some documents on his end, which also entailed the legal side of it. Once we had those signed, I think the intention was to start as soon as the weather broke and permitted work outside with volunteers in a comfortable capacity. And I don't believe it'll take that long to get the project done. I mean, he has an extensive list of volunteers. I think maybe people from the city would volunteer for something like this, and we could probably even bring in, you know, some Rutgers volunteer services to implement everything once we get it going. So I would say, you know, late winter, early spring, maybe start, in my mind, probably beginning of March, end of February, beginning of March with this.
Sounds good. I mean, that falls in line with when plants start to blossom and with the chart. I looked at the time frame. It looks like a nice kind of, looks like it's going to be staggered in terms of colors and time when things will blossom and stay blossomed.
Yeah, I think she did a really nice job with that because it is staggered and there's a lot of different colors for all seasons. So once it starts blooming, it should bloom continual and have something for the entire year, and you know, in the box, which would be really nice.
Terrific.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments or anything I can try to help with best I can?
This is Clara. Sounds great to me, and I would really like to have another at the other meeting if the other people can join us. But I think this is a great idea.
Thank you. Yeah, I will let them know, you know, if you're willing to have us back again for next month's meeting. You know, I'll certainly invite them, and I'm willing to come back again, and they can probably, like Hannah especially, can answer more specific questions about the plantings, and then Robert can reiterate his role, where it started. You know, you can hear from him personally instead of hearing it from me, how I got involved.
Councilwoman, one question that was in the chat is if you would mind sharing the name of the landscape designer.
I'm trying to see if I have. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can pull it up. Well, her name is Hannah Cohen Oppenheimer, and she works out of the New Road School of Somerset. She's a horticultural instructor. That's the information I have for her right now.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good, thank you. Any final questions or comments for Councilwoman Socorro Ludwig?
No, I just want to say thank you again. We really appreciate the initiative, and please let Robert know that we appreciate his contribution to helping beautify the city. I mean, it's really very generous on his part. I looked at the budget. My hope is that we can look for funding opportunities for projects like this that we can publicize or send over to the business community if there's anything that's available for small grants for this.
Great. I was also going to go downtown and see what kind of grants were available too. So there's a couple different avenues, hopefully, but I know, Robert said he was willing to invest in it, but hopefully we can come together as a community and do something, a little bit better, give something back to him for all his efforts. And I do appreciate all of you listening to me, all of the work that you do in the city. I think it's super important. And I know that, you're all very compassionate about it. I can hear it. I know from your questions that it's very meaningful to you. And I appreciate that from a city perspective and a citizen perspective as well.
Thank you. We appreciate that. And it sounds like there's definitely interest in continuing the conversation and supporting it. I think maybe the one thing I would say in that regard is obviously you heard we had questions and comments and suggestions. I would at the same time just encourage that the if in the month in between, if Robert or the landscape designer have to finalize any decisions about the plant list, that they should go ahead and do that, right? Not I don't know if they felt this way or not, right? But we're happy to provide the input we did today, but they shouldn't feel as if they need our final approval on minute kind of specific decisions like that. I think overall we're very supportive of the concept, interested in knowing how it came about and how that can be instructive for hopefully seeing this kind of project take root from other business owners in other areas of the city as well. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
Take care. Thanks. See you soon.
Okay, all right.
I just want to say thank you, Charles. That was very good. Very nice.
Yes,
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
glad when we when we get to touch on the gardens part of our commission, right?
Yes.
I'm glad they thought to bring this to us for some feedback, and glad to see it happening. So I'm just going to pull up now the agenda. Most of the rest of tonight's agenda is sort of business, right? Commission business, starting with minutes. So we had gotten a little backed up on minutes, but Denise, if you could bring us up to speed and let us know what we're voting on.
I apologize. Glenn just called, who is trying to get in. He's on hold. Erin, could you see if he called in? He dialed in. Can you check to see if we have a guest waiting to enter? Okay. He's going to try again. He said he was on hold with music playing. I apologize for that. The thing that I want to do, which I realized we have not always been doing, is do a quick roll call, and I'll summarize who I see on. It's myself, Denise, Charles chairing, Clara Hayes, Joshua Best, Ruth Loeffler, guest, Joshua Tedesco, Zoltan. Zoltan, say your last name for me, please.
Okay.
I apologize.
Can you say it again, Zoltan? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
CK.
Sigelli.
CK.
Say K.
Yep.
Aaron McGuire. One more time.
Me?
Aaron McGuire and Charlie Cradaville. And being broadcast in case anyone wants to go check tomorrow and look at our live broadcast. I sent out shortly before the meeting, October and December, collaborated on. Have you had a chance to review them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So if I could get a motion and a second on those, I'd appreciate it.
I'd like to motion to go ahead with those and approve those, the October and also as well the December.
I'll second.
Thank
This
you.
is Charles seconding.
Second, okay, and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
I
Aye. Terrific. Okay, November will be forthcoming, and we didn't have anybody for January, so I'll also do January, and then we're going to need the rotation for the remainder of the year. So
just
that,
Now, if
I won't put, say that again?
could we decide on that now, just to make sure you don't get stuck with too many more?
That would be great if we could do that. Thanks, Joshua. So we've got February through December.
I can do February.
Okay.
And I can do March.
Josh, just one thing to keep in mind, pending the rest of tonight's meeting, right? But typically a chair does not do minutes because they're responsible for providing the agenda and facilitating the agenda, so it can be a little hard to. So, I mean, if I'm not saying that if you want to double task that you're not welcome to, but that's been how we operated this year. It can be a little hard to manage both.
Okay, I don't mind at least doing the February ones, just so we have someone guaranteed for next month.
Great, Joshua. Thank you. So we'll take you off March pending the rest of the meeting. I guess we're going to need like 2 months for each person after that. I'm happy to do May and October. So we need March, April.
I don't mind doing April.
Okay.
I think March is okay for me.
Okay. If we could just get someone to do June, let's go through at least the first 6 months of the year.
I'll do July. and
Josh,
August.
Bess,
I see. July and August. for
I'm
Clara.
sorry, Clara. You would do July and August? Terrific.
Clara. Clara. July.
Joshua, Bess, could we ask you to do? I'm sorry, Clara. I'm on a delay. I apologize. I feel like I'm interrupting everyone, but I'm getting delayed sound. Can you repeat that, Clara?
July and August for Clara.
Okay. And Joshua, Bess, would it be okay to ask you to do June?
Yes. Yeah, put me on whatever the
Terrific.
remaining you need for now. Thanks.
Okay, terrific. All right. So I think that's good for now. And then we'll have September, November, and December that still need assignment. And maybe we can get Glenn, and if we have a new member.
Can you guys hear me? This is
I think
Glenn.
I got Glenn in.
Mhm.
I think the new guy has to do something. So if September's the next available one, I'll do September. Yeah.
Terrific. Thanks, Glenn, and welcome.
Thank you. Sorry I'm late. I was on hold. I don't know. There was hold music. I don't know what was going on, but
I don't know if I apologize, Glenn, because it might have been me.
No.
But
don't apologize.
I have to like admit people now, and I've never done that. So
Right.
we're still having years later issues with.
But it's weird. They put you in a waiting room and you sit there on hold with music playing until you're admitted. And I'm like, okay, what's going on here? So that's why I called Denise. Sorry.
No, but then I admitted you, and now you're renamed Glenn, so you're good.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Actually, now that we've got all of this, we have November and December still available. So why don't we try to finish suggestions? And we're flexible during the year if necessary.
The new guy can do November.
We're all doing, you want to do November, Glenn?
I don't want to,
Okay.
but sure, I'll do
And
November,
one
of
more.
course. Yep.
So Zoltan or potentially, let's see, Josh Best, December.
Yep. That's fine. This is Josh.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Who has
Okay.
October?
Denise.
Yeah, I said I would do May and October.
I was
Okay,
gonna offer
so I think
October.
we're done with that piece. We've got minutes approved, November, and tonight will be forthcoming. And then we've got our rotation set up. Thank you all.
Thank you, Denise, and good suggestion, Josh, to go ahead and tackle that. And so if we move on in the agenda, actually, Glenn spoke up, but the next item on the agenda was to talk about some of our commission membership, right? Starting by formally welcoming Glenn as a new member of the commission, taking the spot that was vacated by Susan Malika when she her term ended. So I know we all know Glenn a bit from his participation as a guest and a resident in some past past meetings. But Glenn, would you like to just share anything more about yourself with the group? And we know a little bit about your passion for trees from our prior conversation about the Buckaloo Park tree identification proposal, but anything else you'd like to say about parks and gardens in New Brunswick?
No, I appreciate the opportunity, but I'm a tree lover, as you said, and I look forward to the opportunity to working with the commission. I don't know all the parks yet. I'm sure I'll come to know all the parks. I don't even come close to knowing all the gardens, but it's really kind of exciting. I live so close to Buckaloo Park, and I visit it so frequently, and have such a, as you said, passion for the trees in that park. For some reason, it's just a really great park to me. So this is nice. I really appreciate the opportunity. So thank you all for having me, and I hope I can contribute hopefully as much as I do to the Environmental Commission and go 2025.
Excellent. Yes, and Glenn knows his way around a city commission through his time on the Environmental Commission. So we're definitely glad to have you, Glenn.
Thank you.
And I also wanted to introduce a candidate for the upcoming vacancy on the commission. So as I had shared with you all previously, I'm planning to step away from the commission, but I didn't want to do so without just leaving a vacancy in limbo. So wanted to have a potential replacement candidate to recommend, and to the city, right? Obviously, the city mayor's office will make the formal confirmation. But she's with us tonight. Ruth Loeffler is a friend here in New Brunswick, but someone who I thought perspective would be very welcome on the commission for a couple of reasons. And then I'll invite Ruth if she'd like to share a little more. But two reasons why I thought Ruth's perspective would be very welcome on the commission is, most importantly, she's just a very frequent park user in New Brunswick of many different neighborhood parks. With her family and children, I can't think of many, if anyone else in New Brunswick that I know that spends time getting to so many different parks and gardens and recreation park, and goes to lots of events in different parks. So I think, we've talked about making sure that we have some kind of geographic diversity from New Brunswick, people who live and frequent parks in different neighborhoods. So I'm know Ruth definitely brings that. And the second is, as a park user with young children, I think, how parks are welcoming and used by parents and young children is a really important perspective, since such an important part of park usage. And her kids are also frequent park users. So wanted to introduce her tonight, and we'll, pending any feedback, would plan to offer her to the mayor's office as a candidate, as I submit my resignation. So Ruth, you want to introduce yourself and share anything more about your interest in the commission?
Thank you, Charles. I don't have too much to add, just thank you for having me and thank you for the opportunity. It's an honor to be considered. And as Charles mentioned, yeah, we are frequent users of New Brunswick City parks. We live close by to Baker Park. That's probably been the park we frequent the most, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the renovations will look like there. We've lived in the city over 12 years and have been frequent users of many of the parks and the festivals and events at them for that time. So I'm looking forward to potentially being part of the commission, just learning and contributing in any helpful way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. So the next order of business to transition, usually we try and do this in December, but just as we're getting our ducks in a row, we'll tackle it this month, but is to confirm the officers for this year. Obviously, as I step away, I'll be stepping away from the chair position as well. And Josh Tedesco shared his interest and offered to step into that role, pending the feedback of the commission. Erin indicated that she's would like to continue as vice chair, is willing to continue as vice chair, and Denise, the heroic task of hurting us all, everyone's note-taking and being the secretary of records. So, and keeping that role. Josh, would you like to share anything about, the chair position and your interest and, how you kind of see stepping into this role, and then we can formally vote on that.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. At the end of the day, I think that, I can serve you guys pretty well. I'm not sure if I can do as good a job as Charles is, keeping everything together and organized and that communication strong. I hope to, obviously. And if you guys, have any suggestions for me on things that we can do or things that I can do to make the commission run better, work better, obviously for the community, but also for you guys, I'm happy to do that. I would like to, maybe automate some of our less fun tasks and maybe help make the minutes a little bit less stressful to complete. I think that there's quite a few automated ways we can do that. And if you guys have any questions for me, I'm happy to take them, but I really hope to serve you guys best that I can.
Thank you. Any comments or questions for Josh?
Well, I want to thank Josh for stepping up for that role. You've been with us just one term and 1 year, and I really appreciate the initiative and the interest in doing this. I'm looking forward to working with you as chair.
Thank you.
Yeah, same here, but Charles, it was short for me, but you did a great job as chair.
Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate that. And one thing, I just
To
want,
follow up on that, Charles, will this be your last meeting, or are you doing one more transitional meeting?
it just depends on the timing of, my kind of pledge was to stay on until the vacancy is filled. So if the city is able to approve Ruth's nomination and, she can formally become part of it by next month, then then this would be my last meeting. If that can't happen in time, I would be willing to still be here in February as just a member then, not the chair. But right now I'm anticipating this being my last.
Okay, then I want to echo what Glenn said and add to it. It has been absolutely wonderful having you as our chair. I've learned a lot about New Brunswick, besides the commission and how the commission runs. I think you do great work and will continue to do great work for the city. And hopefully you will be back on some projects with us and maybe become a volunteer when we have things that are appropriate for you and your family.
Yes, absolutely. And I will not be going far in New Brunswick, and I do anticipate, still engaging with parks related projects, particularly in those parks that, through my role with MBT and the Esperanza project, we tend to focus a lot on War Memorial Park, Joyce Kilmer Park, now Baker Park, Harvey Street Park. So interested in staying engaged. Glenn knew me first from when I came to an environmental commission meeting with some community members. So, next time I'm back, and maybe as a community member, right, when representing some questions or ideas from community members. So I'm excited to reconnect in that capacity in the future.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
but
Josh, way to go stepping up, man.
Yeah.
That's really great. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Again, I'm going to try to do as good a job as Charles, but it's going to be tough. Hopefully he'll answer some of my questions and help me out.
Yes, I was gonna say, suggest we can plan for this offline, Josh, but that prior to the next meeting, maybe you, Denise, and I can set up a time just to sit down and chat and kind of fill in some of the questions you might have about, some of the past history of how we got to where we are in some of the projects, and obviously then you can take it and shape it as you see appropriate. And one thing I wanted to just share for all of the commissioners is obviously the chair has a certain level of responsibility for shaping the agenda, both literally and more figuratively, about how the commission proceeds. But a lot always comes from you all too, and your passions and ideas. So we wouldn't have been talking about trees as much as we have if it wasn't for Josh Best, for example, right? And tree identification, if Glenn hadn't come to us, or the dog park previously through Judith and Denise. So just encourage everyone to keep bringing ideas as they come, right? That's what it's for. So I look forward to hearing what comes out of the commission in the future.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Charles, I'd just like to say, I'm glad you're not leaving New Brunswick or stepping too far away from us. I remember when you first came to New Brunswick, and I also remember the first time you met the mayor. Did you remember? And the mayor, Mayor Kay has said, I'd like to talk with him, after, because he saw the potential, your potential, and he, I'm really, I really acknowledge you on your growth, your diplomacy, your community spirit, the way you've handled yourself and us in all situations. And as much as I'd like you to stay, I will not, prevent you from stepping up. And just promise you won't be going too far away.
Oh no, New Brunswick can't get rid of me. Can't get rid of me that easily.
Yeah. And congratulations. And, for all that you do for the community, even with, your family life, your girls, your wife, you still take the time to look after us, the city, the residents in the city. So thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you for those kind comments. Well, I believe we have just a final order of business, right, to attend to, which is just confirming the 2025 meeting schedule. So Denise sent out the dates, but Denise, you just want to review the changes in those, and then there was the question of meeting time to finalize.
Yeah, I'll do that in a moment. Just a point of order. I think we need to vote on the officers for.
Oh, yes, right, right.
We have action required, so we need to vote on that.
Yes, good point. Thank you for pointing that out. Can we get a motion in a second for to vote on the proposed officer slate?
I don't know if we're allowed to.
Yeah, I don't know if I can vote for
I
myself.
don't know.
So we're gonna need someone other than us to vote on that, to move that.
I'll make a motion to.
I second it.
There you go.
Sweet. There we
Great. Thank
I
you.
can't see, so I'm a little hesitant to say anything because I can't see everyone. So pardon me if I'm not speaking up.
Okay, so all those in favor
Bye,
of
Glenn.
approving the pros officer slate, Josh Tedesco for chair, Aaron for vice chair, Denise for secretary. I don't know whether it's a formal rule that you can't vote for yourself. Candidates can vote for themselves in normal elections. So so I guess vote, and then if we need to clear it up in the minutes later, we can. But we have a motion and a second. So all those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Okay.
Any
Thank you.
nays?
The ayes have it then.
Ayes have it.
Okay, so I guess we go to the meeting schedule then.
Yes.
Congratulations, everyone, co-officers, appreciate that. So we send out the meeting schedule. We've maintained the second Tuesday, exception of November, because that is Veterans Day this year. So we moved it to, I believe, the 3rd. Let me go check that. If somebody has it up, I believe it was the 3rd, which would be November 19th. Does someone have the schedule up?
18th, I believe it would be.
Is that what?
If it's a Tuesday, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just
Yeah,
checking.
the
It's
18th.
not Thanksgiving. No, it's not. Okay. All right. Yep.
Okay. There was a suggestion that we change the time of the meeting at the last meeting from 6:30 to 6, because we did have a couple of times when we ran late and people had other obligations. We wanted to give everyone a chance to weigh in on that. Everybody at the last meeting was fine with the 6 o'clock time. If we could just by voice let us know, does that 6 o'clock time work?
Yes.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, 6 is good.
Clara, does that work for you?
Yes,
It
it
does work.
certainly
And Erin,
does.
is that
Yeah,
okay?
6 o'clock is fine.
Great.
6 works for me, and I just realized that February 11th is actually my birthday, so I don't think I'll be here that day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
wanted to put that out
then my only request would be that we make arrangements for some
Oh, well, I have to make
someone
someone else make sure. Yeah, no, I'll make sure I'm with
to-
someone coming in the meeting.
to initiate the
Yeah, I will.
meeting. Right. Okay, well, have a happy birthday. Okay, so we're on still the second Tuesday, with the exception of November at 6 o'clock. And that's, I'll update it on the city's website. I think that's it, Charles.
Okay, great. Well, that concludes the formal parts of the agenda, which just brings us to if there are any additional communications and reports from any commission members, Parks or Gardens related.
I have one announcement. I think I sent it out today, was the information about Rutgers Water Resource Program, the Green Infrastructure Program. I believe I sent the registration. I attended last year. It's a great, great program. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot, and I registered because I got so much out of it and the dialogue. So I encourage everyone to look it over and sign up if you have time to do that.
I'll just share two brief communications. One is that I was just forwarded a program announcement for a virtual urban garden class that's going to be offered in Spanish by Rutgers. What's the Rutgers? Here, let me pull it up. But I was glad to see that there was an effort being made to engage the Spanish-speaking community. I will.
Through the extension.
Yes.
For plant science department, they have basil and other.
Yes, there's an extension. Yes, agricultural extension. Yep. So I will. I'll follow up to share that in an email. It starts in February. So perhaps a good opportunity to share and for any Spanish speaking gardeners in the community, of which I know there are many. The other communication I'll share is that I know just became aware today there's going to be upcoming meeting with Councilman Matt Ferguson is helping to convene for many of the folks and organizations who have been engaged in planning kind of festivals and outdoor community events in New Brunswick over the last few years, to do some brainstorming and coordination around that for 2025. So I may be attending that. Obviously, some, though not all, of those festivals take place at city parks and are some of the biggest activation opportunities for the parks. So that may come back across the radar of the commission, but something to be aware of.
Great.
Okay.
Hey,
Any
Charles,
other?
can I?
Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, Charles. Can I ask you to do me a favor? And Denise, I don't know if there's an official record of this, but I use my Rutgers email address because I'm in it so often. And and you're right to have used my personal Google Gmail address to communicate with me. But Charles, can you update it so you're using my Rutgers email address? I don't know if you have that or not, and I can give it to you, of course. And Denise, I just want to make sure that's the official address used for communications with the commission. I can give it to
Sure.
anyone. Yeah. So it's just my first name dot my last name, Charles. It's Glenn, GLEN.Candia@Rutgers.edu. And fortunately, by the way, I was checking my personal email address because I saw your emails, and I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. There's a problem with Zoom. Yeah. So, but this way, I'll get any communication you're going to send to the commission.
Very
We
good.
don't do we have a group for the commission? Is there a group like we have for Aaron for the environmental commission? Do we have a group for Parks and Gardens?
Like a Google
group?
No, we don't.
I see.
We can start one if you like. I don't know how well versed everybody is though with the Gmail chat and Google Group feature.
Yeah, the great thing about the group for the environmental commission is it's just one. When you're sending out an email, it's just one email address as opposed to every single individual email address.
Yeah, we can definitely make one.
Okay,
If you like, I can do that.
that sounds good.
It's a first order of business for the new chair.
Sorry, Josh.
No, thankfully it's something I know how to do. I'm really glad it's not something I don't. Running that down.
Great.
Okay. Believe that concludes communication reports if there are none further. And then just lastly, are there any public comments? I think Ruth had to jump off, but Charlie from public is still here. Oh, we may have I see a hand up on, is that on, I see a hand up from a member. Oh, that's Glenn. Is that your hand?
Charlie. Yeah, it's Charlie on a different device. But yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations to the new members, new officers, and thank everyone for their service, but especially you, Charles. I know that you really did an amazing job running this commission, and provided a lot of good information and direction in terms of trying to make improvements to our park system. And so I, for one, appreciate you. And just wanted to say that. Also glad that we're on Zoom tonight, and pleased to see the Zoom module in place, and wanted to make a suggestion that the commission should consider pressing the record button for future meetings, and making a video recording of the public meetings. New Brunswick Today will do our best every time we can. We'll attend and broadcast, record whenever possible, but just on the off chance we're not able to, it would probably be best practice for the board to make a recording that would be on file, and you could even proactively publish it like our city council does with the videos of their meetings. So just wanted to provide that suggestion, and yeah, thanks again for all your service.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for the personal comments, and the suggestion I think is a good one. And probably be a question to also direct how that would be saved or stored from the city account as well on Zoom, but something to look into. There you got, Josh, you've got a second order of business now.
I'm actually writing all of this down. I think actually I have quite a few more items to.
And Josh, don't forget about the community garden space. We need to be on that.
Don't worry, I won't. That's definitely. I do think that we've done a great job with parks in 2024. I'd love to see if we can't do the same think, for gardens this year in 2025.
Okay,
I'll hold most of the work to you though, Zoltan.
okay.
Also, before we go, I would like to say, no, I didn't notice anyone mention that the Nielsen Park, that their work has begun.
Mm-hmm.
And did anyone else notice?
I did, but
Yeah, great. I was so happy to see it's coming along. And also
Yeah,
Monument, go ahead. And about Monument Square, has, kept its, what should I say? It's being so, well used, and especially during the holiday season, was quite a sight. Very impressive and enjoyable to stroll around, even when it was cold, to walk around, etc. So just wanted to share that.
Absolutely. That is, I'm glad you brought that up, because that work starting on Nielsen Street Park is a big milestone. So
Mhm.
it'll be exciting to see it take shape.
Mhm.
Okay, are we ready to adjourn? If so, we could someone could make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll
I
second.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
I
Aye. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the
Good night,
rest of your
Right.
Good
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.